Well, hello and good afternoon from South Orange, New Jersey, where Seton Hall University is located. We'll go ahead and get started here as hopefully a few more people join us as we go through the introduction here. Um, so, but as we go through, we'd definitely love to hear where you're joining us from. I know a couple have already left their names or where they're joining us from in the chat, so feel free to go ahead and do that. This is the information session for the School of Diplomacy and International Relations. My name is Ryan Hemish, and I am the Assistant Director for Graduate Admissions and Recruitment out of the Office of Graduate Affairs. I will be your host. Then I would also like to introduce the main presenters for today, which all come from the School of Diplomacy and International Relations. The Dean of the school, Dr. Courtney Smith, the Assistant Dean of the school, Dr. Catherine Ruby, and one of our students and graduate assistants, Brandon Miley. Just for a little housekeeping, we expect the presentation to take about 45 minutes or so, and then we will open it up to questions. As we move through the presentation, please feel free to type any questions you have in the chat box, and we will answer them at the end. For today's presentation, I'll first go over a brief introduction about Seton Hall University, and then I'll hand it over to the School of Diplomacy to dive deeper into the school, the programs offered, and all the advantages of studying diplomacy and international relations at Seton Hall. We hope that you will leave us with a better understanding of how Seton Hall and this program can help you achieve your desired outcomes. So to get started, Seton Hall is a home for the mind, heart, and spirit. We want to nurture, challenge, and grow all three aspects of a person that comes to study with us. The university was founded in 1856 by Reverend James Roosevelt Bailey, the first bishop of Newark, and named after Elizabeth Ann Seton, the first American-born saint, as she was a pioneer and really led the way for parochial education here in the U.S. Today, Seton Hall is one of the country's leading Catholic universities. U.S. News and World Report ranks us as one of the top schools in the nation, as well as one of the top 20 Catholic universities in the nation. We are an R2 research university, which means we have a high level of research happening on campus that is really led by our world-class faculty. We are open to all faiths, creeds, colors, and foster a diverse and welcoming community founded on respect, understanding, compassion, integrity, and servant leadership. You'll definitely hear more about this and how it's integrated within our programs and the School of Diplomacy. There, just a little bit more about more focused on our graduate students. We have well over 90 graduate programs, well over 100 graduate programs now, actually, both on campus and online. We pride ourselves on having a low student to faculty ratio so that each faculty can get to know, their students by name and help guide them accordingly. But yet have enough, peers in the classroom for you to network and learn from one another. We do have over 3,200 graduate students. About 2,000 of those are master degree seeking students, and a little over 1,000 of those are PhD students. And when you combine that with our undergraduate population, we have a total of 10,000 students coming from 43 countries and 46 states that study with us either on campus or online. So that was a brief introduction of Seton Hall. Now I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Smith to start talking about the School of Diplomacy.
Thank you very much, Ryan. And let's see, good morning to Uday in LA, and good evening to Ruben in Liberia. And I think those are the ones who I saw give locations in the chat a few minutes ago. So it's my pleasure to talk to you about the School of Diplomacy and how we fit into the overall mission that Ryan just talked about of Seton Hall University. So if you're like me, when you're looking for graduate programs, you're probably looking at a lot of different programs and places where you can study international affairs around the world. And we like to think of our program as being an especially good place to study international affairs. And the three things I want to highlight from the beginning of the webinar, and then we'll go into more detail, is that we're highly ranked, we have a very unique nature, and we're really strongly located. And so I've got one slide on each of these three things we want to highlight. So in terms of ranking, Foreign Policy Magazine, which is one of the top two foreign policy publications, ranked graduate programs by doing a survey, and they surveyed 900 international relations scholars and 300 international relations policymakers. And they asked them a very simple question: name the 5 best places in the world to earn a master's degree in international affairs. And the results are on the screen for you. Of all the places where you could study international affairs around the world, scholars ranked us number 30th in the world, and policymakers ranked us 32nd. And I think those numbers are really dramatic for two reasons. First is they're very high numbers, and second is they're remarkably consistent numbers between the how scholars view us and how policymakers view us. And that's one of the themes you'll hear about in the school, how much we try to integrate theory and practice, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And I'll even highlight a couple examples right away on the next slide, and then you'll get some more from me when I get back. So that connection between theory and practice. The second thing I said I wanted to talk about, well, what makes us kind of unique? You are going to be looking at a lot of different places to study international affairs, and after a while, they can start to blur together. So the easiest way to remember kind of what stands out about our School of Diplomacy is in our name. Our students have long called ourselves the Diplo community. I'm not really sure, quite frankly, how I felt about that when they first started doing that. But over time, I've really come to embrace this idea, because I think if you can just remember that, Diplo, you can remember 4 key features about our school. And they're right there on the screen. And so I just want to highlight 2 things on each of these 4 elements. So with D, diversity, you are going to be thinking that means geographic diversity, demographic diversity. And we, in fact, have those as a school of diplomacy. But what's even more important, I would argue, is a diversity of perspectives, of diversity of ideas, international issues, whatever animates you, whatever global issues that you want to work to address, whether it's traditional security conflicts, whether it's tariffs and trade, economic development, social issues, pandemics like what's going on with Ebola right now. It could be social issues, gender issues. There are so many different things that can motivate our students and what they want to make a difference in their future careers. All of those issues are complex and challenging because there's different viewpoints on them. So you need to make sure you are picking a program where you're going to be exposed to those different viewpoints. If you only go to a program where everybody else thinks like you are going to graduate with not having expanded your viewpoint, and you're not going to be any more prepared to interact with those diverse views once you leave that program. You need to be exposed to ideas you don't agree with, so that you'll be able to at least try to find common ground with them as you work for solutions to these pressing problems. So we have a diversity of perspectives here. The second thing is that we have a diversity of programs. You may be joining us when you're more recently completed your undergraduate degree and interested in one of our Master of Arts programs, or you may have some experience already under your belt and might be interested in a mid-career degree. We have both of those. Dr. Ruby will walk through the different options, so that way you can look at the diversity of programs we have, and we'll help you pick the one that's tailored to the next step of your career goals. Okay? Influencing policy is absolutely critical. We're a professional school of international affairs. Everything we do has to be about connecting theory and practice, giving you an opportunity to learn how to influence policy while you're in our program, so you hit the ground running in the next stage of your career. We do this inside the classroom. You will be taught by award-winning faculty. I'll be back later in the program to brag about our faculty. You'll be in very small class sizes, a lot of active learning strategy activities in those classes, role-playing, group projects, simulations, case studies. All of our graduate courses are capped at 20. Most of them, the average class size semester by semester is usually 13 or 14. So these are very much hands-on discussion-oriented classes, again, taught by excellent faculty. The other thing is that we'll give you opportunities to enhance your experiential education opportunities outside of classroom. We have, if you're in our Master of Arts programs, you're required to do a professional internship. If you're in our Master of Science programs, you could choose to do a professional internship for academic credit. We have opportunities for short-term study abroad, embedded trips that are available for graduate students. We also have activities where students will work with policymakers. Brandon later on will tell you about one that he's been intimately involved in that I just love. I don't want to steal any of the thunder, but Brandon will tell you about it later. So we have all of these opportunities where you can engage in in influencing policy, both in the classroom and through our experiential education. Um, Leadership is an important part about professional development at the school, and we see leadership being important in two different ways. One is leadership by our students. Our students play an active role on campus. They are intimately involved in the functioning of the school. They run student organizations. They participate heavily in our events. I'll tell you about some of our signature events on a later slide, and they would not be possible without our students. So our students are very much helping lead the school with us, and they're joined by faculty who are thought leaders in their field. They're outstanding academics. They publish in the highest, most prestigious presses. I'll give you concrete examples later in the program. So this way you're surrounded by other people that want to develop as leaders in this field. This is setting you up to take ownership of not only your time on campus, so you pick the program, you get involved in the student organizations and so forth that suit you. So you take ownership of your time here, so that way you're ready to take ownership in your future careers. And the key thing there is that I highlighted the word careers. We are not preparing you for a job. In international affairs, you will move between jobs during your career. So we need to prepare you for that career and have you be as ready as possible to move between those different roles. And Dr. Ruby will have some data in just a few slides that gives examples of the outcomes that our students achieve. So right up front, you can know the return on investment, how being a student in the school allows you to develop that opportunity to take ownership. One of the things that allows us to bring these four things together in a very unique way is the location of Seton Hall University and the School of Diplomacy. We are located 14 miles outside New York City. That is the center of the village of South Orange. Where we're located is the middle picture on your screen. But we are 14 minutes, a 30-minute train ride from Midtown Manhattan, New York City, and everything that the United Nations and the surrounding community has to offer. I get to the UN all the time. In fact, between Thursday of this week to Friday of next week, I will be at the UN 7 days in a row, participating in meetings, running programs. It's that easy. You walk 10 minutes, you hop on a train for 30 minutes, you're in Midtown Manhattan. You've got access to thousands of NGOs. All of the major companies are there. Every country in the world has a mission to the UN, a consulate, or both. I'm in New York City, so there's a heavy center of diplomatic activity that is just 14 minutes away, 14 miles away. Sorry. At the bottom of your screen is a picture of Washington, D.C., which is 2.5 hours by train. And so therefore you have the opportunity to spend a semester in Washington to regularly get down to DC for events. Later this week, we have two of our students that are going to be participating in a Council on Foreign Relations activity based in Washington, DC. And they're doing that by taking the train down. And we have other opportunities that you'll hear about for students to engage in Washington. So we are located next to two of the main centers of international affairs and international policymaking. The other thing I just want to highlight very quickly is some of you may be in this webinar because you're interested in one of our online programs. And you may say, well, I'm interested in an online program. The location of the university where I choose to study really doesn't matter. That's not accurate. The location matters tremendously because all of the things that we are able to provide to our in-person students, because we're online, especially the speakers that we bring to campus, benefit our online students too, because we live stream all that. We do it through webinars, through teams like this. So the stuff, as much as possible, that impacts our in-person students also enriches the opportunity of our online students. So location does matter when you're thinking about an online program. I highlighted that we're really set up to focus on the outcomes that you're going to achieve in our program. And I think I'd like to turn over to Dr. Ruby to talk about those outcomes right from the beginning. And then I'll be back in a few minutes to talk to you about how we start to achieve those outcomes with you. So Dr. Ruby?
Great. Thank you, Dr. Smith. So I want to start in terms of the DIPLO acronym, the Dean Smith spoke about. I want to start with the bottom one, the O, which is coincidentally both ownership but outcomes. So, what can I do with a degree in international relations? And so, we have done alumni surveys of our students, and this is the data from our fall 22 to summer 2024 survey. And you can see here that 39% of our alums have found work in the private sector, 36% in the public sector, which is government at all levels, mostly federal and state, and then 25% in the nonprofit sector. So I think that some students think about a career in this field as opening up opportunities only in the government sector, which would be the public sector. And you can see that is definitely not true. And I can say that based on the trends I see, that more and more students are engaging in the private sector. Let's go to the next slide, and we'll have a little more information about position titles and employers to delve into it a little more. So career destinations include employers, and we have here a list. You can see in the employers column of private sector, government, including congressional offices, foreign consulates in the U.S., which makes our location so close to New York City and Washington, D.C., an important part of your decision. The Institute of International Education, examples of nonprofits, International Rescue Committee, RAND, UN missions, and an example of government is the FBI there. We have alums who are in many, many areas of government. Then to give you an idea of position titles, I tried to grab some here that were both entry level and more senior for those of you considering the executive MS program. So you can see here an entry level position would be an intelligence analyst or working in a congressional office as a liaison person. A lot of those people are doing communications. Then we go into executive director, senior fellow, senior policy advisor, et cetera. You can see there. And these positions would be for those that were coming back, of course, with more work experience, or those who are in the executive MS program and looking to step up in the company that they're working with. You can see there the average starting salary in 2024 was almost $78,000. And that is an average, so it's including those with with many different years of work experience. So just remember that it is an average. So let's go to the next slide. So Dean Smith spoke about experiential learning, and I think one of the things that makes our program very different is that we have an Office of Internships and Career Development directly at the School of Diplomacy and only for diplomacy students. So very focused on the IR, global affairs area. We encourage you to connect with Robert Case, our Director of Internships and Career Development, early in your days in the program. You want to attend the sessions that we offer. These all support your career development, and you're going to put those into practice when you're looking for an internship. So for those of you considering the MA program, there is a required internship course, which is part of that. And why do we do that? Because 75% of employers expect that those coming to work with them in entry-level positions have some sort of work experience in the field. So this is built into the MA degree, and it's also available to those who are career changers in the executive MS programs. So we offer sessions almost on a monthly basis and sometimes even more. And you can see creating your own personal brand, elevator pitch, etiquette protocol workshops. Um, in early May, we had 12 alums from both Washington, D.C. and New York, which are our largest alumni groups, but 12 volunteered to come to the School of Diplomacy on a Friday and meet with students. So we had wonderful networking opportunities for students via these career panels. And of course, you want to meet individually with Robert Case to learn about how you can make your resume and cover letters very appealing to get you past those application tracker systems and into the interview process. So the internship course is a 3-credit course, and you'll be doing that in either a summer semester or a semester when you're studying classes. And it consists of between 15 and 20 hours a week of work at an internship host site, and also participating in the online class that's offered. And the online class is really important because it really forces you to think about what you like about the internship, what you might not like, helps you identify skills that you're really good at and skills that you maybe need to strengthen a little bit. So it's really building up your self-knowledge so that you can talk about these things when you are in an interview process. So let's go to the next slide. We also offer a semester in Washington, D.C. So you can move to Washington, D.C. and intern and study there in a fall or spring semester of your program. And we have a classroom in DC. It's located at the United Nations Foundation building, which is 1750 Pennsylvania Avenue. So you're in the heart of the government there. Our professor there is Dr. Ray Walser. And Dr. Walser is a retired Foreign Service officer. He also worked with the Heritage Foundation for some time as a Latin America research fellow. He is very connected. He knows Washington, D.C. very well. He knows our alum and can help you make connections, particularly if you're interested in working for government agencies, embassies, think tanks, and particular non-government organizations. The nice thing about this semester is that you can take your scholarship and financial aid that you have to attend your graduate classes, and you can use that to support your coursework and living expenses while you're in DC. So from Monday to Friday, you would be very busy. Monday to Thursday, you would be at your internship, and then on Friday, you would be studying with Professor Walser at the UN Foundation. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now I want to turn it over to Brandon Miley.
Thank you, Dr. Ruby, and good afternoon from South Orange, everybody. My name is Brandon Miley. I just finished my first year here at Seton Hall as a graduate student in the MA program. My specializations, which we'll get into later, are foreign policy analysis and Asia. A little bit about me is I was born in Brooklyn, but I went to undergraduate and high school in Atlanta, Georgia. But I'm back in New York, and I'm currently doing an internship in Lower Manhattan. And so you'll see me bouncing between Lower Manhattan and school, and it is quick. Like Dean Smith says, I take the pathway. In about 25 minutes, I'm in Lower Manhattan. Another 25 minutes, I'm in South Orange. So it's really, really great to be able to take advantage of both. But one unique opportunity that I've been able to participate in is in the National Security Fellowship, run by Mr. M, as you can see down there, a alumni of Seton Hall. The National Security Fellowship is a really great opportunity if you are really interested in government work, understanding how government policy is formulated, and if you really want to develop your research skills that you can take from anywhere, really. The National Security Fellowship is you get a research project from either Department of State or Defense or even the White House. And You spend roughly 7 months researching the issue, developing policy recommendations, and at the end, you get to go down to either the Pentagon or State Department and present your research and your findings and make recommendations to some top officials. So the past year, we had a project from the Department of State discussing the modern dynamics of India and Pakistan. We were able to present to a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We were able to present, of course, to the client, the State Department research division. We also presented it to other alumni and other people in other thinkers in the field. The seniors got to go to Japan and present to both the U.S. Forces Japan, but also the Japanese Ministry of Defense. So if we're really wanting to develop your research skills and apply it to international relations, to government policy, I highly recommend the National Security Fellowship. I even use it in my current internship, which is in the private financial sector at the moment. It's a really great opportunity, and I look forward to possibly seeing a lot of you apply in the fall.
Thank you, Brandon. One of the things I love about working at the School of Diplomacy is you get so many opportunities to learn alongside and from your students. And the NSF program is certainly an example of that. I get to go every year and listen to their policy. Well, I haven't gone to Japan yet with them. Well, we're working on that. But I've been to Washington, D.C. Each year, whether they're presenting at State Department or Pentagon or both. And every year I just am blown away by the quality of the work they do. And that's true of the partners as well. The partners, the clients, so to speak, that ask our students to do these research projects, a lot of them are repeat clients. The client this year, the State Department's Bureau of Intelligence and Research, this is the third time in 9 years they've wanted our students to do a research project. So that reflects how high a quality it was. Another presentation they did just last month when they were in Washington was not even the client this year, but he's been the client several times before, and he wanted his team to hear the work, even though it wasn't technically for this, it wasn't for them this year. So that just shows the quality of the work that our students do. Another wonderful opportunity that we have for our students, where I get to learn alongside them, is our United Nations Intensive Summer Study Program. I mentioned that I would be at the UN over starting on Thursday and then all of next week. Well, on Thursday and Friday, I'm at a sports and diplomacy conference at the UN, and then all of next week, I'm running this program. It's a 1-week program. We've offered it every summer for 27 years. We've had over 1,000 students do this program. It's where we have a group of 30 or 35 students. They meet all day, every day at a place called the UN Church Center. They meet with 25 or more UN practitioners during the week. A lot will work for UN offices, meaning they're international civil servants. Some will work for the country missions, meaning they're diplomats representing their countries at the UN. Some work for civil society organizations that represent their interests at the UN. And then recently now we have corporations that have offices at the UN. And so the students next week will hear from the head of Microsoft's office at the UN. All of these are off the record, intimate conversations so that you are hearing from the people that work at the UN about what's really working well for their office and their goals, and what the challenges are. You don't get access like this unless the students are high quality. The practitioners that come in want to interact with our students because they value that. They're civil servants. We can't pay them to come. They do it because they want to provide the insights. They want to hear from students. They want the reflection, and they do it year after year because one of the people they hear from a week from Friday is the spokesperson for the Secretary General. You can watch the noonday press briefing that's probably going on right now on UN Web TV. And Steph Dujarric will be spending time with our students next week. And he's probably done it a dozen times because he wants to share with them the insights of the work at the UN. It's programs like this that you can't get elsewhere that really help bring diplomacy alive. Let's say you're not able to go to the UN, though, even though it's so close by, as Brendan said, and I said, maybe you would like the UN to come to you and other world leaders to come to you? Well, we have a World Leaders Forum where we bring diplomatic practitioners to campus. We have at least one high-profile visitor every semester, and then, as I think Dr. Ruby alluded to, we have many opportunities to engage with practitioners, whether alumni or not, throughout every semester. Through the World Leaders Program, we've brought all 3 secretaries generals that have been in place while there's been a school of diplomacy, have spoken with our students. We've had 4 presidents of the United Nations General Assembly. We've had 7 Nobel Peace Prize laureates, including 3 of whom are on the screen right now. Kofi Annan, Lema Bowie, and Nadia Murad are all Nobel Prize laureates. We've had 3 apostolic nuncios. Those are Vatican ambassadors, either to the U.S. or the United States, on campus. And we've had the U.S. ambassador to the UN on campus 4 times. So very high-profile leaders. They come to campus because they want to do some sort of public, like a big venue event, but they also want to do small group conversations. And like, for instance, I'll use Linda Thomas Greenfield is one example. She didn't want to give a formal lecture. Her public event was her on stage. I was sitting next to her. I'm a UN scholar. I could have asked her questions for hours. I asked her exactly 0 questions. Instead, we had a group of 8 students seated on stage. They ran the conversation with Linda Thomas Greenfield, and then we opened it up to questions from the audience. Nadia Murad was the same way. Others, like Lema Bowie, Archbishop Pierre, have done a public lecture event that was more of a lecture with audience questions, but then did small group conversations with our students where they answered things off the record. We always make sure we have these interactive elements. And because you joined us on the webinar today, I'm going to give you the secret for being picked for one of those small group sessions, or to sit on stage with a world leader. We are going to send you something called an email. The email is going to say, we have a world leader coming to campus. Would you like to ask a question? If you'd like to ask a question and be on stage or in the small group, reply with a question, and we'll pick you. It's that easy, okay? That's how we roll at the School of Diplomacy. We want you to interact with these people. But it's not just the world leaders like this that you'll be learning from. You'll be learning from our award-winning faculty. And I want to brag about our faculty very quickly in 3 different ways. The first way I want to brag about them is that they are outstanding teachers. And I'm a very data-driven person, and I've got data to back it up. So 12 years ago, the university started giving an award for the best teacher on the entire campus, okay? Our faculty have won that award 4 out of the 12 times that it has been offered. Okay, Martin Edwards, Phil Mormon, Ben Goldfrank, and Joey Huddleston, all on the slide, have all won that award. Okay, why is that impressive? We've won the award 4 out of 12 times. So 1/3 of the time our faculty's won the award, but our faculty are only 3% of the faculty on the campus. So 3% of the faculty are winning the award 33% of the time. That's amazing. The university also has awards for the online teacher of the year. Well, Fredlin McCormick Hale won that the first time it was offered. That's important for those of you thinking about an online program. I've highlighted the importance of 21st of skills in connecting theory and practice. The first time the award for teaching 21st century skills was offered, Anne-Marie Murphy won it. A very dedicated group of teachers. But they're also, a second point, outstanding researchers. Our faculty in recent years have published 5 books. 2 of those books have been with Cambridge University Press, 1 with Oxford, and 1 with Columbia. So top-ranked, highly prestigious academic publishers. And this research is policy relevant. For instance, the most recent book by Phil Mormon, which was published by Cambridge, looks at the extent to which the State Department, U.S. State Department, takes considerations of international law into effect when it makes policies. And in order to do that research, he interviewed 80 former U.S. State Department officials across 5 presidential administrations. That immediately makes your research policy relevant. The last thing I will highlight about our faculty is that they involve students in their research. They want to engage them in their research. Martin Edwards' book, which was on how the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization monitor compliance with their policies, involved the research support and research engagement of 16 students through various grant-funded mechanisms. So very much hands-on research that our students got to participate in. Another way that our students interact heavily with faculty is through our research centers. So we have 4 research centers that we've had for many years that are on the next slide, and then we've got one newer institute that I want to highlight separately. So you can see the subject matter of these research centers on the screen. The directors are up at top, and I'll just give you a couple examples of how graduate students interact with these centers. Some of our graduate students are interested in helping run and manage peer-reviewed academic journals. So they get involved with our Center for Global Health Studies and serve on the staff of Global Health Governance. Other students want to participate in the work of the United Nations and attend UN sessions. Well, we're an ECOSOC, United Nations Economic and Social Council recognized NGO. So we send students to UN meetings all the time. We had 9 of our students on the UN Commission on Status of Women meeting earlier this spring. And you can do that through our Center of Global Governance Studies. Another way to engage in hands-on learning is our most recent center or institute, and it's called Servium. It means that I may serve. And this is an international security-focused center. And you can see here that the center is really trying to benefit on the unique strengths of Seton Hall and the School of Diplomacy. The fact that we have a strong security studies program, the fact that we have a lot of faculty members who focus on Asia and the importance of Asian security, the fact that we're a Catholic university and the network of Catholicism in the region, and finally, the fact that we have a strong ROTC program on campus. All of this comes together to have a very unique security studies perspective. And one of the signature programs that Servium does is a crisis simulation. We ran several this year, I think 1 in the fall and then 2 in the spring because they take some time to prepare. These are all-day events on a Saturday. The first one had 24 students, the next one had 36 students, and the last one had 45 students. These were all-day Saturday events. So students volunteered to sign up to do these programs. And the last group that went from all day Saturday, at the end of the day, when it was time to break so they could actually get dinner, the students said, well, couldn't we just keep working after dinner? And so the professor, Balistreri there, came to me and said, hey, would you get some money for dinner so we can continue the simulation for another 4 hours? And I'm like, if you have students that want to spend 8 hours or 12 hours instead of 8 hours doing a simulation, I will absolutely find some money to cover dinner. So we have very engaged students that are really excited to use these centers, just like Brandon was doing with his experiences in NSF. So outside the classroom, there's a lot of rich opportunity for you. But our classes are also very important for your future career development and the curriculum that we offer. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ruby to go through our different degree options that you can pursue here at the School of Diplomacy.
Excellent. So in this section, I want to talk about 6 categories of degrees that we offer. But first of all, I want to speak about specializations, which are the center of all of our graduate degrees except for 2. And what the specializations allow you to do is really personalize your degree and help you focus on a career area that you might be interested on or an academic interest. So we have 2 types of specialization. The first we call functional, and you can see there's 8 topics areas there. Foreign policy analysis, global health, negotiation, economics and development, security, law and human rights, international organizations, and post-conflict state reconstruction. So varied topics, but again, depending on what sort of career you're interested in, this allows you to personalize your degree. And then we have regional specializations as well: Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean and the Middle East. And each one of our faculty members is a specialist and leads each specialization. So not only are you learning material that they've done particular research on in the region or functional area of expertise, but they're also opening up their network of contacts to you in the field. So let's start with the first degree, which is a Master of Arts, or MA in Diplomacy and International Relations. So this is a 2-year in-person program. The students that we have here tend to have less work experience. I would say less than 5 years work experience. Some students are coming to us directly from their undergraduate degree. This is a 15 course curriculum, 45 credits. This is the degree that I mentioned has the required internship course. This degree also has your very typical academic social sciences research courses. So you're going to study international relations theory, a research methods class. Our thesis course is called the Research Project Capstone, and then the internship. So those are the 4 courses. Then on top of that, you will study 2 specializations. So you'll pick 2 from the group that I just spoke about to make up the 45 credits. So let's go on to the next one. The next category of degrees that we offer are the dual degree programs. And I think we saw a number of students today who were interested in the dual degrees. With these, you're going to take a compressed degree program in each of the degrees. So for example, the MPA and the MA in Diplomacy dual degree has 30 credits from each side of the house, so to speak. So public administration, you would study 30 credits, and diplomacy, you would study 30 credits to make up a total of 60 credits. This takes a little longer to complete. I find students can go through in 2.5, 3 years full time, with the exception of the JD MA in Diplomacy, and in that degree, you're doing the full JD and a 30 credit MA program. So that's a 5-year program. So these you do finish with 2 degrees in hand. And for those who are interested in 2 very different areas of expertise, this is something that you could look at. Our next degree is our newest degree, and we are accepting applications now for fall of 2026 for this brand new Master of Science in Conflict and Security Analysis. So this is a 30 credit degree, 1 year in person, and it is a STEM designated program. So for those of you who are international students, you will find some benefit to being in the STEM program, because that does affect your visa status when you're in the employment time frame. And Ryan Hamish will speak about this when he talks about the admissions criteria. So 30 credits, 15 credits are those STEM courses, and the other we could call the non-STEM courses are offered in topic areas such as, this is so new, I have to really read them. The STEM courses are in data mining, data visualization, research design for policy analysis, statistics for data science, data text mining, and you can pick from courses at the business school, at our College of Arts and Sciences in the psychology department, or the data science program. So again, you have some choice here in terms of what you will be studying. The other 15 credits are with the School of Diplomacy in the security analysis. You can study homeland security, intelligence, cybersecurity, terrorism, or you can focus on peace and conflict studies. So looking at peacemaking, peace building process, the post-conflict reconstruction, or aspects of the conflict dynamics through the negotiation specialization. So there's a lot here, and this is for people who are more interested in the quantitative side of a field. But you do not have to have a quantitative background to study these courses. They have no prerequisites. So this is our newer one um, for you to think about. Let's look at the next one. So our Master of Science in Homeland Security and Cyber Resilience is an online program, 10 courses, 30 credits. This has very few elective courses. So it's an 8 core course program where you'll be taking courses from the law school. They are offering cybersecurity, policy analysis courses. You'll be taking courses from our executive police leadership program, where you're taking courses on crisis management, crisis communication, and then you're also taking courses from the school diplomacy. And there are 2 credits, 2 elective courses there that you can pick from either police studies, diplomacy, police studies or diplomacy. So this is a very specialized degree. So it doesn't have a specialization because by virtue of the content, your specialization is Homeland Security and Cyber Resilience. Let's look at the next one. So this is the Executive Master of Science in International Affairs. So this is the first program that we offer that does have a work experience requirement, which Ryan Hamish will get into. It is a full-time, it's a 12-month program. Part-time, it's up to 4 years completion. You may take this totally online or totally in person. If you want to do hybrid, you can do that as well. So the curriculum for this degree is exactly the same as our MA program, but you're only studying 30 credits and you're not studying those academic research courses that I spoke about when I talked about the MA. So there's no internship, you don't need to do a thesis or research methods. So it's a very, I guess you would say, applied program for those who have work experience. And we're really giving you credit for that work experience because it's only 30 credits versus 45 credits for the MA. So let's go into the next program. This is another executive MS program offered online. It does require work experience. And this is co-taught by UNITAR, which is the United Nations training area. So we call them the trainers who teach you the UNITAR part of the program. Also teach UN ambassadors and staff. So you're getting some very applied skills building courses here. The UNITAR modules focus on practical skills, and you can see they're listed here. Diplomatic communication, project management, negotiation, public diplomacy. And then, so diplomatic practice is one of your specializations taught by the UNITAR trainers. And then you will pick a second specialization that's taught by a faculty member at the School of Diplomacy from the list of the 13 that we recently spoke about. And this is also an online program. You'll be on 2 online learning systems, one with UNITAR, one with the School of Diplomacy. So let's go on to the next slide. And I believe, let me reintroduce Ryan Hamish, who's going to talk about the admission requirements.
Sure, but first, I just want to remind everyone that we are getting towards the end of the presentation here. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the chat. Yeah, and so I'm Ryan once again, and I am with the Graduate Admissions Office. I will be primarily your first point of contact and help guide you through the application process. And so we are still accepting applications for this fall. We do have rolling admissions, so there is still time to apply, as well as our spring semester is also open and accepting applications there as well too. And so as mentioned, we do have rolling admissions. For joining us today here on this webinar, I can provide you with an application fee waiver code. If you type in GFW into your application, that will waive the $75 application fee. From there, you have to submit a number of supporting documents, one being your personal statement. We want to, hear about why you want to join the program, what you hope to accomplish, and how you hope to utilize that degree in your career going forward. You will also need to submit a resume or a CV. This is especially important for our executive MS programs where you really need to show that you have the work experience requirements. So if you have for those executive MS programs, if you have a bachelor's degree, you would have to show you have 7 years of work experience. Or if you have a master's degree, you have to show at least 5 years of work experience. Otherwise, for all programs, we do require that resume CV. But the MA or the MS in Homeland Security or whatnot, there isn't a required number of years that you have to show there. We also need 2 letters of recommendation. These have to be sent directly from your recommenders to us. As you'll enter their name and contact information in the application, and we will send them an email so they can upload and submit their letters of recommendation to us. We will also need your official transcripts. So you'll have to, primary way, at least here in the US and Canada, you'll reach out to your university where you graduated from and request that they send us your transcripts. That's also very similar for students internationally as well. You'll usually have to reach out to the registrar office or office of documentation or transcripts, and they can help send your transcripts either to us by email or by post or by mail. For international students outside of the US or Canada, you'll also have to get an international transcript evaluation. This must be done by a NACES accredited evaluation company. We do have a partnership with the evaluation company, formerly known as Spantran, and I can share a code with you to get a discount on their services for that evaluation. Then if you come from a country whose official language is not English, we do require an English language proficiency exam. We accept the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. There are opportunities for waivers available. Of course, if you come from a country whose official language is English, we would waive that requirement. If you studied at a university that can document or send us a form stating that the medium of language was English, we can waive those requirements as well. Yep, and so then after that, your application will be submitted and be reviewed by the admissions committee within the School of Diplomacy and International Relations. If granted admission, you will automatically be reviewed for scholarships. So here's some funding opportunities that we offer here at Seton Hall. We do try to make our tuition more affordable for students, one of them being the Graduate Merit Scholarship. So after you're accepted, you'll be automatically considered for the Graduate Merit Scholarship, which is administered through my office, the Office of Graduate Affairs. The scholarship, depending on the program, like for our MA, can get up to, say, 50% of tuition. For some of the MS programs, about 40% of tuition. And it's, as the name implies, it's all based on merit or your GPA from your previous studies. As well as after accepted the program, you can start applying for graduate assistantship positions. These positions are offered all throughout the campus, possibly my office, the School of Diplomacy, other schools on campuses, or like the athletic departments, the Office of International Programs. So they are offered, numerous positions offered. They are, however, highly competitive. We do recommend that you apply to as many positions where the position description aligns to your skills and knowledge. If you do get a full-time graduate assistantship, which is 20 hours of work per week, that will cover 12 credits per semester and provide you with a monthly stipend as well. As well as there. And then on top of, say, your graduate merit scholarship, the School of Diplomacy can also offer additional scholarships, which I will let Catherine mention there.
So we offer 3 scholarships here. Again, you are automatically considered for scholarship. We encourage you to apply by the deadlines for your application because the School of Diplomacy has a fund which allows us to offer scholarships up to a set amount of funding every year. So we do the funding based on batches, I guess you would say rounds of review. So the limits or the GPA requirement for each of the scholarships is listed there. The research assistant has a 10-hour per week commitment to it, and the graduate fellowship has a 5-hour per week work commitment. That work would be with a faculty member on research or with an administrative office of the school. The beauty of these scholarships is that they can be combined with the graduate merit scholarship that Ryan spoke about. So we have some students are getting 70, 80% tuition scholarships when they're combined with this other one. We're also a Coverdell Fellow program. So if you're a returned Peace Corps volunteer, you are eligible for a 50% tuition scholarship. And in return, you would do 10 hours per week of work with a faculty member or an administrative office of the school. We also match the AmeriCorps education awards. So if you fall into those categories, please submit your description of service as part of your application materials so that we can confirm your eligibility for these scholarships. Other funding options are listed here. We are a yellow ribbon school, so we have a financial aid counselor who works only with the veterans benefits programs, and we do participate with all of them. If you're working and particularly if you're looking for one of those executive MS programs, check with your employer to see if there's a tuition remission program there. And then these links here also go to external scholarship databases that offer other opportunities for funding.
All right, and so now we can open it up for questions. Once again, please feel free to type your questions in the chat, and we'll get to them now. The first question that I see is, well, Uday, I hope we covered which programs that are available for online for you. And then I saw you also asked if you are doing the Executive MS in International Affairs and Diplomatic Practice, that is co-taught by UNITAR. Will the master's degree come from UNITAR or Seton Hall?
The Master of Science degree is given awarded by Seton Hall University.
Uday also asks if the official language is not English, but education was in English, example, India. You know, we typically do require English proficiency exams, but if your institute can provide a letter or forms stating that the medium of being taught was in English, we can consider that and possibly waive that requirement for you. So we would just have to see a document before we make that decision. Famous asks, can we apply for a GA even before submitting our application? No, you'd have to be accepted to a program before you can start applying to the graduate assistant positions. As soon as you're accepted, you can start applying. Let's see, Alejandra, do you need any prior experience, for example, if you just graduated from university to be able to apply for a master's program?
No, if you just graduated from university, you can apply for the Master of Arts program in Diplomacy and International Relations, or you could apply for the online Master of Science in Homeland Security and Cyber Resilience, or the new Master of Science in Conflict and Security Analysis. So there's three options for you there.
See, Mohammed, it's the code for the application. Yes, the application fee waiver code, GFW, is to waive the application fee to apply to one of our master's degree programs. There is no waiver code for the international transcript evaluation. We're able to provide you a discount with our partnership through TEC or Spantran through the link that was shared. Otherwise, there is no waiver of fee and definitely that transcript evaluation, if you studied outside of the US or Canada, is required. Let's see, I think I see a couple of people typing, so we'll give you a minute here to get your questions in. Please, considering the deadline for funding, particularly for international relations, can we still apply? Yes, we are still accepting applications for fall. We would encourage you to get your application in, especially if you're looking to come on campus for one of our on-campus programs, really as soon as possible, as we would need to help you coordinate getting a student visa, as well as travel accommodations, finding housing, etc. For that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, we definitely encourage you as well for online programs, just so you can be accepted and get prepared for courses or your classes come the end of August. But so with that, we are still accepting applications for fall. Anthony, does a graduate of a UK uni require proof of English, proficiency in TOEFL or other? No. With your bachelor's degree from the United Kingdom, we can waive the English proficiency requirement. Alejandra, is there any problem if I'm just starting the visa process? Does the university offer support or is it separate? So after you're accepted to a program, our Office of International Programs will be reaching out to you. They will help give you guidance, as well as they will be the one to issue your I-20 to you. Once you fill out some documents, show enough financial support, they'll issue that I-20 so you can schedule your student visa appointment at your local embassy or consulate. Mohammed, how much time will it take to evaluate my application if I apply tomorrow? If you get your application in tomorrow, we typically ask to allow, about 10 to 14 business days in order for an admission decision to be made. See some more people typing. Okay. Does a UK resident EU national require study visa to the US? Yes. A student visa is required. Or yeah, student visa. Yep. What will be the procedure if I have been accepted? So after you're accepted, as mentioned, then your file will come back to Graduate Affairs and we will automatically review you for our graduate merit scholarship. So no additional application is required. The school diplomacy will also then evaluate you for any additional scholarships. From there, you will have to confirm your admission and choose to enroll by submitting your a tuition deposit of $500. And then Dr. Catherine Ruby will be in touch with you to get you registered for classes. During that time as well, if you are an international student, as mentioned, the Office of International Programs will be reaching out to you to coordinate issuing your I-20 so you can schedule your visa appointment. And then you, of course, make travel arrangements. And then you would start classes at the beginning of the semester. Famous asks, with regards to the dual degree, are we going to be awarded 2 certificates after completion?
Yes, you will get 2 certificates to hang on your wall after completion.
What's the mode of submitting official transcripts? We accept official transcripts either by email directly from your previous university or where you've completed your bachelor's degree, or they can also mail them directly to us as well. Can we have the slides emailed? Yes, I will reach out to everyone that attended today and provide a copy of the slides to you, as well as provide other links to especially the application fee waiver codes, the evaluation code, links to housing, and other information. Yes, we can also, I'll also catch the recording too. Still see a few people typing away. Okay, can you exactly inform me about the exact month or week about which classes will start? For the fall semester, classes start on August 31st. If you're interested in the spring semester, those classes typically start the middle of January. This past January, we started January 14th, so it should be somewhere around that time as well. You are welcome, Famous. Okay, start wrapping up here. I will say if you have any further questions after we get off, you can always email shoegrad@shu.edu. Okay. So Mohammed asks, do we have to pay anything like the deposit fee before visa approval? Uh, Technically, you would not need to pay the deposit before your visa approval. However, you can't get registered for classes until you do. Okay, temp key versus vice president, but not have English proficiency. But I have educator at inner school. I've passed the Cambridge PDQ. Um, for Tatemke. Please email me afterwards or send an email to shoegrad@shu.edu. I'll be happy to and send me your documents that you have mentioned, and we can go from there and see if we can waive your English, waive you from submitting an English proficiency exam. Will your office help or guide about health insurance and accommodation? I can definitely give you resources for to find housing. We do not have housing for graduate students on campus. For health insurance, I can provide you with some resources as well. There, as well as I know the Office of International Program touches upon health insurance that, you applying for that. And there are some opportunities to waive having health, taking our health insurance, where the school has offered health insurance if your own health insurance meets specific requirements. So
Also,
oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
I didn't want to cut you off, Ryan. Sorry, Brandon Miley is also available to speak about accommodation, because he knows students who are looking for roommates and knows the areas. So you're also welcome to reach out to him. Brandon, do you want to pop the diplomat email address there in? Thanks.
Yep, and definitely for international students, there's a whole WhatsApp group that can help you also find housing. From a lot of our international students, they're always willing to help out there too. So well, I think can go ahead and wrap it up. Definitely want to thank all of you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure to share more information about Seton Hall, the School of Diplomacy, and our programs with you. Please reach out to either shoegrad@shu.edu or diplomat@shu.edu if you have further questions, and we'll be happy to assist you there. So once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.